Lesson 47 today is about circumference and pi. Now when we look at a circle, there's three different measurements that we have to be very familiar with right now. The first measurement that we're going to talk about is the circumference. And the circumference is just a distance around the outside edge of our circle. So the way we can draw it is we can just spell circumference around the border of our circle. And circumference, well, we're just going to draw arrowheads that are going clockwise around our circle, just like this. And we show that that's the measurement of the circumference. Now, the other measurements that we need to know, there's two more. The first one is, and we're going to use straight lines for this, we'll use straight diagonal lines. The first one is the distance across the circle right through the center. Do you know what that's called? Well, the distance right across the circle through the center, that's called the diameter. And when we have problems, we'll either be given the diameter, it will tell us what that's equal to, or we'll have to measure it with a ruler. Now the third thing that we need to know, we'll go ahead and we'll use a light blue color. We're going to use a horizontal line. And the last one is straight from the center. Oh, that's not light blue, that's blue again. So we got light blue going straight from the center over to the edge of the circle. So it's half of the diameter. If we have that, that must be called the radius. And again, the radius is a measurement that we're either going to be given in our problems or that we're going to have to measure with a ruler from the center to the outside edge. Now we can tell that if we have the radius twice, we must get the diameter, because the radius is half of the diameter. The circumference, it has a formula to help us figure out. The circumference is always going to be equal to the same thing. The circumference is always going to be equal to the diameter times pi. And pi is a special number. You may have heard of it before. Okay, pi is equal to about 3.14. And another way we can write pi could be also equal to 22 over 7. Because 22 over 7 is about equal to 3.14 when we do the math. Pi is a special relationship. Pi is always equal to the circumference divided by the diameter. So if we want to find the circumference, we use this formula. This is a key one. Make sure you've got this written down in your notes. Circumference equals diameter times pi. Let's look at our first example today. Cindy drew a circle with a 2-inch radius. What is the circumference of the circle? So if we want to draw a circle, we can use a compass. So if we want to use a compass, I'm going to draw out a circle here. Okay, we can close out our compass. Okay, and we're going to say this circle has a 2-inch radius. So if it has a 2-inch radius, we're going to want to use a nice straight line. We'll use a diagonal line this time, starting from the center, going to the edge. And that one has a radius of 2 inches. So this is 2 inches. So what is the circumference of the circle? Remember, circumference C is equal to diameter D times pi. And we're going to write it a different way. Pi has this symbol. Okay? Pi, it's the squiggly line that's almost horizontal and the two vertical lines beneath it. So we know circumference equals diameter times pi, so the circumference must be equal to the diameter of this problem, and the diameter is the distance all the way across, so that must be 4 inches. And we're going to multiply that times pi, 3.14. Let's go ahead and figure out what the circumference is, the distance around the outside edge of our circle. So 3.14 times 4, because we wanted to double the radius to find the diameter, because that's what we use for our formula of circumference. 4 times 4 is 16. We'll carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 more is 5. And 3 times 4 is 12. So we get 1256. But wait, we've got a decimal number. We need to move the decimal out 2 times. So we need to bring it back in 2 times to balance out. So we're going to bring it back in 2 times. It goes between the 12 and the 5. Let's separate this. So the 2, we know that's how many times the decimal is coming back in. And we've got our answer. Our answer must be 12 and 56 hundredths, or 12.56. Now we need a label, because we're talking about distance, so this problem is working with inches. So we've got an answer of 12.56 inches is equal to the circumference of a circle with a 2-inch radius. That means if we wanted to measure around the outside edge here in orange, the total distance, if we straightened out this line, would be 12.56 inches exactly. Lesson practice will be on page 251 to 252. Make sure you've got your notes complete, and I'll see you during our next class.